46. Negotiations between Columbia University and student protesters continue today as both sides really try to find a way forward and ease the tensions on campus.
So that's not the case, though, at campuses across the country. Campuses closed today at the University of Southern California after students faced off with the LAPD on Wednesday. So the protests are far from over. Joining us this morning to share her insight is the executive director of the New York Civil Liberties Union, Donna Lieberman. So good morning to you, Donna. Thanks for being with us. Let's start with Speaker Mike Johnson's visit to Columbia yesterday. Should the university be discouraging politicians from coming on campus, stopping them from coming on campus?
Hey, we're a free speech organization. Politicians have free speech rights too, so they can come on campus, but the rest of the world has the right to criticize them. And Mike Johnson and the congressional majority in the House are simply about grandstanding and using this for their own political ends. They're doing nothing to promote dialogue and debate. They're doing nothing to promote harmony, peace, but they're doing everything they can to sow division and to marginalize academia and to marginalize the important principle of academic freedom, which is very much at stake here as well.
Yeah, it was interesting because the message was really about the president of Columbia resigning, less about easing the tensions here. So let's talk about what you guys have done at the NYCLU. You've dispatched teams to both NYU and Columbia, right? In the early stages of all of this. So what did your teams report back to you about what they were hearing on the ground?
You know, we have teams on the ground, you know, as the encampment situation has escalated. And what's been going on has evolved over the past several days at Columbia. And I myself took a ride up to Columbia on a bicycle yesterday. It was sort of sad to see all the barricades along Broadway that were, you know, keeping people out. But it was quiet. There was a lot of press, you know, maybe a dozen police a couple of blocks away from campus. And that's it. It was quiet. I couldn't get onto campus, which I often do. So, but I think that it's important that Columbia and NYU exercise restraint. You know, if college life is about anything, it's about learning how to think, how to debate, how to disagree, and young people are passionate about the environment in which they are living and the future that they inherit. So of course they have a right and they have strong ideas. What's interesting to me in the coverage of what's going on campuses is that it's not simply pro-Palestinian and not Jewish. You know, there are a large number of Jewish students who are participating in the protests. Yet the coverage about the experience of Jewish students on campus is only about those people who disagree with the protests and who feel marginalized. I believe that some people feel marginalized, are legitimately marginalized, but you know, that's happening all over the lot. There are Palestinian students, there are a lot of foreign students, there are a lot of American-born Palestinian students or Arab students who feel very unsafe on campus as well. So it doesn't do anybody any good to just talk about one group of students that's feeling unsafe or under pressure as a result of the protests. It's important for the university to recognize that they have a responsibility to facilitate debate and belonging among all students.
Now, when do you think, though, that it is time to bring in law enforcement? Because from what I understand, you felt that they brought the NYPD in too soon, but we see video of them throwing bottles and chairs. So when is it the right time to bring in law enforcement to stop what could potentially happen?
And even the National Guard is being mentioned now.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. You know, Columbia actually has its own rules about when you can call in the cops. And it's only if there is an imminent threat of serious danger, you know, threat of violence. That's not what was going on at 4 o'clock in the morning, the other day. That's not what's going on now. And I hope that Columbia has learned its lesson. The jury is out on that, obviously. But it's not okay to bring in the police or the military, God forbid, to a campus, even when students engage in technical violations of the rules. Campuses tolerate technical violations all the time. In fact, they engage in technical violations of the rules, which they did when they summarily suspended Jewish Voices for Peace and Students for Justice in Palestine from campus activity. Allowing people to speak their piece, to feel heard, to be, as they say these days, seen and heard, is really important.
All right, we'll see how all of this plays out. Just to make very clear, the NYPD have to be invited on to the campus by Columbia to do anything. So it was Columbia that's why you're saying they hope they learned their lesson. Good to have you here, Donna. Thank you very much, as always.
Okay.